Hello, hello, hello. Hope y'all can hear me okay. Sorry it took a minute just trying to set up. Uh, Peace of Christ to everybody, first of all. My name is Dave. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Anglican born, Catholic raised, and I was hoping to dialogue with somebody, whoever have objections to the Trinity or to the Godhead, which happens to be the word that we find in the Bible. The word Trinity, invitation to go live together. I don't know who this is, so I'm Mr. Rehan. Sorry, if you guys are not trying to get on topic, please do not click that link. I don't need to be talking about nothing else right now except the Messiah, if you know what I mean. So, like I said, peace of Christ to everybody. The God-man, the Messiah, he was the one who took on flesh and the one who bore our sins, our sorrows, just so we can be close to the Father. It's unfortunate that even up to now, 2024, people still don't they still can differentiate between the word being, the word person, or the word God. Let me tell you what I mean. All right, when I say God, when I use that word God, I'm using it like me saying one community, one family, one hospital. It's still one body. It's still one body. Stop sharing this right here. It's still one body, but that body consists of persons. If you know what I mean. That's who God is. God, the fact that people still think God has to be one person, one being, like us finite creatures, is mind-boggling, because that's not who God is. God is nothing like in creation, and he's God. There's in the Bible, when Moses told God, "Who do I tell the people sent me? How do I describe you? What do I tell the people about you? Like, how do I describe you, God, to my people to let them know that you sent me?" And here we got to understand and pay close attention. That word I am, it just means I am who I am. There's nothing in creation as a whole that can describe me. That there's nothing in creation that you can compare to me. I am who I am. I am. Tell the people I am sent you. There's nothing in creation that can describe me as God. There's nothing in creation that you can use as a reference to describe my character. There's nothing in creation that is, on par with me. Basically, God is telling him, just tell them I am who I am sent you. I am sent you. There's nothing else in creation that can describe that to the people. I am. I am who I am. There's nothing in creation like me. It looks like we have somebody trying to join. Let me make sure. See right here. Let's invite a couple of people, see who have objections to the Trinity and would like to have a dialogue. So, I am who I am. There's nothing in creation like me. You cannot fathom me. You cannot describe me. There's nothing in creation like God, which is why Trinitarians are the ones who uphold the truth. When it comes down to people with their understanding of the fullness of God, of the truth, Trinitarians got it right. Okay, so for those of you who have objections, you're welcome to come in and discuss. Let us discuss your misconception. Bring me your objections. Let us see if your oneness, if your logic is consistent with biblical teaching. Again, everybody make claims, but only few can actually prove what they claim in the Bible. So God is nothing like creation. There's nothing in creation that can fathom his essence, that can be described, that can be used to describe his nature, his character. Nothing. So God told Moses, I am who I am. Tell him I am sent you. I am unfathomable. There's nothing in creation like me. So what other way to describe God? Something, or should I say something that is infinite in nature with our finite brains, because we are finite creatures. We cannot comprehend it. Even up to today, those who happen to think they know God fully, they still can't comprehend the vast majority of his essence, his nature. God cannot be comprehended, not by finite creatures like us. How you guys doing, Joseph? How you doing, sweet type? So I am who I am. That's who God is, because there's nothing in creation comparable to him. Now that we made that point clear, let me give you a little breakdown of at least what I got from the book of Genesis, the very first book of the Bible, Genesis. And if you go on and right there to the very first chapter, Genesis chapter 1, it's just like anybody today, whoever writes a book. That's true, Joseph. Joseph Bond is undeniable. That is true. How you doing, Michelle? How you doing, Vincent? That is true. But you got to understand, even in the Jewish tradition, being adopted make you legally adopted. Like in the book of Mathew, when he talks about all the genealogy and how he came down to Christ, Joseph was the one whose focus was in mind. Now, Joseph is not the biological dad of Jesus Christ, but in the Jewish tradition, when you adopt somebody, that becomes your seed. Abraham didn't think he was going to have, someone like Abraham, he didn't think he was going to have an heir, coming out of his own loins, his own seed. He had already made plans and preparation of giving his heir his properties, his everything he had to his the people staying in his house, the other maids and servants he bought. And he told God, my servant is going to be my heir. And God said, no, I will make sure your wife, Rebecca, actually give you a seed. And through that seed, I'm going to bless the nation. Kings will come out of you, and salvation will come out of your seed. So being adopted, especially in the Jewish tradition, that doesn't negate the fact that you are already owned by who adopted you. And that's one of the focus of Matthew. If you read Matthew chapter 1, let me see if I can share my screen right here. I'm sorry, TikTok. Looks like I'm not going to be able to share the screen on TikTok, but I should be able to share the screen on YouTube. So, If you look in the book of Matthew chapter 1, the book started off with, this is King James Version. I'm reading King James. I like the King James. They try to keep the message, intact without the different translations or having to make translations that make you lose the message itself. The book started out, Matthew chapter 1, it started out with the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Now, verse number 2 started out with Abraham begetting Isaac, Isaac begetting Jacob, and Jacob begetting Judah and his brothers. And it goes on and all down to the line of David, and it goes on to where they were all brought to Babylon, and Jeconiah and Shealtiel begot Zerubbabel, and it keeps going down all the way to how Jesus Christ became the son of Joseph. Looks like somebody trying to join. Let's see who this is. Looks like somebody tried to join right quick. Okay, looks like this for those of you who want to join, looks like somebody trying to join earlier, but okay, so like in the book of Genesis, it gives that genealogy. That's how the book of Matthew in the New Testament, that's how it starts. It starts with the genealogy and ultimately to Joseph and how that rubbed off, with everything going on. What people don't realize is how Joseph took the whole thing, which is why I commend him. You are being forced by God to take this lady as your wife who is pregnant, and it's not your pregnancy, and you know what that could happen in the Jewish tradition at the time when this happened, and which is another reason why the Jews, somewhat put their rabbis on a certain pedestal, putting their rabbis above the Torah, above Moses, above Aaron, who was the high priest at the time, and, making these rabbis ultimately the law. So whatever they said, goes. Whatever they said count, which is really unfortunate if you ask me. But I'm not going to go into the whole Jewish tradition thing. Let's just focus on Jesus for now and how Jesus relates to God. In the book of Genesis chapter 1, the very first 2 verses gives you an idea of what God is like. You will believe with me when I say even us as human beings, when we write a book, in a way we give a little introduction about ourselves. That very first page, it doesn't matter who it is. When you write a book, you somewhat give an introduction of yourself. And I'm pretty sure God can write a good book. Let me not use the word write. God can inspire a good book. So in the book of Genesis, the very first book of the Torah, the book of the Old Testament, the Bible, God gave a little description of himself. And if you are actually true and honest with yourself, you will realize that within God, there is a plurality within his nature, his essence, which will mean God is not one person, one being like us finite creatures. There is a plurality within God's essence, if you know what I mean. It says in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. I already reiterated this fact in my previous video, but in the beginning, what is beginning? That's time. Y'all will agree with me, that is a time frame, that's time. Somebody trying to join, let's see who that is. Quick invite. Cancel. So y'all will agree with me when I say in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Beginning is time. That's what time is. And the heavens, we will use that as space, which will mean everything around us, basically. Space is something that has to be filled with matter, which means they go hand in hand. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. You have time, the beginning. You have space, which is the heavens. And you have earth, which is matter, everything around us, basically. So beginning, you have beginning, which is a trinity in the beginning itself. You have past, you have the present, you have the future. Then the heavens, you have also a trinity in the heavens, which is space. That's length, you have breadth, you have height. And the earth, which is matter, everything around us right now, you have solid, you have liquid, and you have gas. So you have a trinity inside a trinity, created by a Trinitarian God. The book of Genesis says, God created, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That word for God in the very first verse is Elohim. That is a plural form of God in the Hebrew. Now, the plural form is also used to, or being attributed. How you doing? Can you hear me? Somebody trying to join. Hello? Well, that is that. So as I was saying, Elohim, the plural form of God in the Hebrew, that's telling you right then and there there's a plurality within God's essence, himself. You have time, you have space, and you have matter. That's everything we know in creation. Time is a factor and is a real factor. So it doesn't have to be excluded. Tells you in the beginning of time. That's what you agree what that translates to. In the beginning of time, God created the heavens and the earth. So time, space, and matter, that is everything in creation. So you have Elohim outside creation, creating. Looking at creation from the outside in. Then you have his spirit, which is inside creation, hovering above the waters, because that's what verse number 2 in Genesis chapter 1 tells you. And the Spirit of God hovering above the waters. So you have God outside creation, and you have his spirit inside creation, both creating simultaneously. You have the spirit helping with creation, but looking at creation from the inside out. Then you have Elohim outside creation, creating alongside the spirit, but looking at creation from the outside in. So that way you get both perspective of things. So right there in itself, you can see a little introduction about God. There is a plurality within his essence, God's essence. So those of you who are onenesses, those of you who believe God has to be one person, one being like you, saying God has to be one person, one being like you means there's something in creation you can compare him with. And that's not God. God, each one of the Godhead, because the Bible doesn't use the word Trinity. What we have in the Bible is Godhead. That's what we have in the Bible. It is the word itself, Trinity, didn't come years later. after the church. But that concept has always been there. That concept of God having a plurality within his essence has always been there. Even the Jews and the greatest Jewish rabbis, they admitted this. There's always been that plurality within God's essence. And it talks about how, the Old Testament talks about how Sodom and Gomorrah, with Lot's wives, Lot and his family being escorted out of the city. And it tells you that God on earth rained down fire and brimstone from God in heaven. So even right there, you see two powers working simultaneously, inseparable from each other and doing everything in total fellowship, in total communion with one another. That is the true God. So God doesn't have to be one person, one being like us finite creatures. There's nothing on earth that is comparable or able to explain what God is or who God is. So keep that in mind. All right. Now on YouTube, I'm sharing my screen. This is Mathew. I'm going to try to read a couple of Bible verses. We're going to read a couple of chapters, and hopefully we get somebody who wants to come in and join and rebut me or give me their view, see how we can, come to terms and put our opinions, together and talk about it. How you doing, Michelle? How you doing, Symphine, Roxy, Julie? How you guys doing? Thanks for joining in. Okay, so if we start with the book of Matthew chapter 1, this is the New King James Version. Sorry, TikTok, I can't share my screen on TikTok, but I should be able to share it on YouTube for whoever wants to tag along, like I said. We're going to ignore the very first 17 verses of Matthew chapter 1, because all is giving you is the genealogy of Jesus Christ, down from the son of David, him being the son of David, down to the son of Abraham. So we're just going to skip the first 17 chapters, because all it's giving you is who beget who and the whole genealogy list, basically, down to Joseph. So we're going to read verse number 18. Verse number 18, Matthew chapter 1, verse number 18. We're going to start from right there. It's giving you Christ born of Mary. Mary, the mother of Jesus Christ. Verse number 18. Now the birth of Jesus Christ was as follows. As his mother Mary was betrothed to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Spirit. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not wanting to make her a public example, was minded to put her away secretly. But while he thought about these things, you see, people don't realize or don't try to put themselves in Joseph's shoes. This is a man who's a Jew. He followed the Torah, he followed the tradition, and now he has to marry his betrothed and come to find out she's with child. So you can imagine the whole thing, trying to piece everything together going on in his mind, which is why I commend him. It says right here in verse number 20, while he thought about these things, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take to you Mary, your wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit. And she will bring forth a son, and you shall call his name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. We read on, verse number 22. So all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, Behold, the virgin shall be with child and bear a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which is translated God with us. So Christians, we don't believe in a man becoming God. We believe in God becoming man. But it's telling you right here, this is something that the previous prophets already preached about. God is going to come to us, born unto us. A child is born, a son is given. The government shall be on his shoulders. His name shall be called Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. So, but notice who took on flesh. You have the love shared by the Father and the Son. Then you have the Holy Spirit, who is a manifestation of that love that they both share. But each one of them have a role to play, and each one of them don't do anything separately. So we're just going to read on verse number 24. And Joseph, being aroused from sleep, did as the angel of the Lord commanded him, and took him his wife, and did not know her till she brought forth her firstborn son, and he called his name Jesus. So not much in chapter 1. Is just giving you, started off with the genealogy and ended up giving you telling you how the angel of the Lord was sent to Joseph and trying to calm him down about thinking about how she could be pregnant, and which is Mary, and how he's supposed to take her as a wife and whatnot. So we're going to carry on. Chapter 2. So this is, let's see right here. Mathew chapter 2. Again, I'm reading the New King James Version, so that way y'all know where I'm reading from. Chapter 2, verse number 1. Now, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, where is he who is born King of the Jews? So even in his birth, he was already labeled king. Somebody trying to join. You guys again. How you guys keep popping up on my feed, man? How you doing? How you doing? That's what I thought. They never say nothing. They just pop up and I'm gonna follow you, okay? That way, when else you want to join, that's fine. Who is this other one? Let's see right here. You guys are Muslims? You guys are Muslims? Hello? Lovely, lovely. You guys are Muslims?
ऐड करें यार.
Salam alaikum. Can you hear me?
तुम्हें तो बता.
Hello? Can you hear me?
मैच ओपन करें यार.
Where you from? Where you from? Where you from?
मैच ओपन.
Go another one right there. You guys just pop out of nowhere, man. Why you guys only keep doing this? Every time I go live, you guys pop up. Huh? Yes, you disconnect. Lovely Moon. Lovely Musa. How you doing, man? Can you hear me? Where you from? Okay, we got one more person. Natsab, how you doing, my friend? Hello?
यार एक चला जाए जबकि मैच भी होना।
Where you from? Where you from? Oh, that's you too? Seriously? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Thank you very much. Okay, we're just gonna keep reading. I'm sorry about that, guys. Let's see if anybody serious wants to join. I don't know how the hell they. See if we can invite a couple of guys. Got Avi right here. Lee. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, just gonna keep reading for now. Verse number 2. This is the wise man coming from the east to Jerusalem, saying, "Where is he who has been born king of the Jews?" So even in his birth, they realize that this baby born is king. He is born king. For we have seen his star in the east and have come to worship him. So the baby is being given worship. A human baby be given worship even at birth. We read on, verse number 3. When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. So they said to him, in Bethlehem of Judea. For thus it is written by the prophets, "But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are not the least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you shall come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod, when he had secretly called the wise men, determined from them what time the star appeared. Now mind you, now they saw a star. They're following this star to where the baby is. Jesus Christ born. That way they can give their reverence, they can worship this baby, bring gifts. So this is at birth already. The baby is being given worship and given that kind of acknowledgement. And he sent them. This is Herod sending the wise men right now. He says, "Go to Bethlehem. Go and search carefully for the young child. And when you have found him, bring back word to me, that I may come and worship him also." When they heard the king, they departed. And behold, the star which they had seen in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. Just like we have somebody trying to join again. Who is this? Let's see. Okay. Right, and when they heard the king, they departed, and behold, the star which they had seen in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy. And when they had come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshiped him. So Jesus Christ is already getting worship even at birth by this wise men who were led by the star, to where he is. That way they can give reverence to him. They fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented gifts to him: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Then, being divinely warned in a dream that they should not return to Herod the king, they departed for their own country another way. Verse number 13, the flight into Egypt. Now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, and flee to Egypt, and stay there until I bring you word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. So Herod right now, he in panic mode right now. You know, everybody's been talking about this Messiah figure that's going to be born, that whose name will be Emmanuel. You know, now he's in panic mode. What kind of child is this supposed to be? And as coward, how you doing, Albi? Is that Albi for real? Alvis. That's Alvis for real. How you doing, Alvi? Love your walk, man. You know, you happen to be one of the other few apologists out there I actually listen to. So, but you specialize mostly on Islam and the Muslims. So keep up the good work, man. You know, thanks for at least joining. Or you know what I'm saying? I really do. I love your work, man. You're phenomenal. You know, so just keep doing what you do. We don't have enough apologists out there, you know, battling these heretics we have on TikTok, which is really unfortunate. You know, so we have to do our part. We can't leave it to the pastors and the priests alone, you know. You don't have to be well versed. Everything is online right now, so we have to do our part. So keep up the good work, man. You know, just to let you know, I'm a big fan. Thanks for at least scrolling through. So that's amazing, man. I'll be on my life. That's what's up. We carry on. Verse number 14. This is Matthew chapter 2. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by the night and departed for Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod the king, that it may be fulfilled, which was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt I called my son. Okay, so now this is just giving you, tying it up with the Old Testament and what the prophet said about this child that is going to be born, basically. Scribe a little board. Excuse me, guys. See what we got over here. So, still nobody. All right. Then verse number 16, we keep going. The massacre of the innocents. Then Herod, when he saw that he was deceived by the wise men, was exceedingly angry, and he sent forth and put to death all the male children who were in Bethlehem and in all his district, from 2 years old and under. Do you know the kind of phobia a king will have for a child, a helpless little child, to go to a city and unalive all the male children 2 years and under? What kind of phobia would that be? That's cowardly, if you ask me. That's really cowardly. You unalive everybody in the district in Bethlehem, 2 years and under, all the male children, just in the search of the Messiah, of this born child king of the Jews. That's cowardly to me. So, verse number 17. Then was fulfilled what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, A voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation, weeping, and great mourning. Rachel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted because they are no more. The home in Nazareth. We keep going. Verse number 19. How you doing, John? How you doing, Stephanie? How you doing, Michelle? Now, when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel. For those who sought the young child's life are dead. This is after Herod the king was dead now. And then he arose, took the young child and his mother, and came into the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus, who was reigning over Judea instead of his father Herod, so Herod the king, his son, took over now, Archelaus. Joseph was afraid to go there, and being warned by God in a dream to turn aside into the region of Galilee. And he came and dwelt in the city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet, he shall be called a Nazarene. So just to give you an idea of how everything is tying up again with what the prophet said about this child born. We keep going. Matthew chapter 3. We read on. Again, for those of you who want to join and, give me your opinion, your objections, if you have anything you want to add, you want to say, feel free to tag along, feel free to come up and, share what you have to say. Matthew chapter 3, we keep going. Now, this is John the Baptist now. John the Baptist preparing the way for the Messiah. Chapter 3. In those days, John the Baptist came preaching in the wilderness of Judea and saying, Repent, repent, for the kingdom of God is at hand. And this is who was spoken by the prophet Isaiah, saying, The voice of one crying in the wilderness, Prepare the way of the Lord, make his path straight. How you doing, Ricky? How you doing, Bobby, Taylor, Stephanie Williams? How you guys doing? Thanks for joining in. Verse number 4. Now John the Baptist himself was clothed in camel's hair, with a leather belt around his waist, and his food was locust and wild honey. Then Jerusalem, all Judea, and all the region around the Jordan went out to him and were baptized by him in Jordan, confessing their sins. So this is John the Baptist preparing the way of the Lord, baptizing everyone and trying to make them come into the straight path, basically. Verse number 7. But when he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees coming to his baptism, he said to them, Brood of vipers. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole who the Pharisees or the Sadducees, who the scribes really are. But just to let you know, these were the scribes during John the Baptist and Jesus' time, who were in charge of the temple, the synagogue, the priestly duties, temporal worship, when it came down to the Jewish tradition. These are the people, the scribes, the Pharisees and Sadducees, who ultimately became the law that the Jews follow. They kind of put these Pharisees and Sadducees above Moses, above the Torah, above Aaron, and ultimately they became the law. It's like someone trying to join. Let's see who this is. Make new friends, invite. And they ultimately became the law. So, Umar, how you doing, my friend? Can you hear me? Thanks for joining anyways. How you doing, Ricky? So that's who the Pharisees and the Sadducees are. The oral Torah tradition, the oral law, was made by these scribes in a book called the Talmud. The Talmud became the traditional law for the Jews, a law, a tradition that Jesus so bitterly rebuked because of how they interpreted the law. One of the reasons why these Pharisees and Sadducees kept clashing with Jesus is because the way he interpreted the law is pretty much different from these other scribes and Pharisees, interpreted the law. Oh, looks like we have somebody. How you doing, Kensen? Thanks for joining. You didn't have to come up here and just leave. But yet again, we carry on, okay? Travis, keep it up. Kensen, like the live. Thank you so much for the likes. I appreciate it. Again, we have to do our part, we can't leave it for the churches and the pastors alone. So it's just a whole bunch of blasphemic content out there, which is really unfortunate and mind-boggling. So we have to do our part. We are not pastors, we are not priests, but at least we can voice our opinions to try to bring everyone to the faith, defend the Messiah, and cut these people dead in their tracks when they try to blaspheme, or corrupt, change the message of the Bible, basically. So we carry on. Verse number 7. This is Matthew chapter 3, verse number 7. But when he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees coming to his baptism, he said to them, "Brood of vipers, who warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Therefore, bear fruits worthy of repentance, and do not think to say to yourselves, we have Abraham as our father. For I say to you that God is able to raise up children to Abraham from these stones. And even now the axe is laid to the roots of the trees. Therefore, every tree which does not bear good fruits is cut down and thrown into the fire. I indeed baptize you with water unto repentance, but he who is coming after me is mightier than I, whose sandals I'm not worthy to carry. He will baptize you with the Holy Spirit and fire. His winnowing fan is in his hand, and he will thoroughly clean out his threshing floor and gather his wheat into his barn, and he will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire." So now, just for those of you who don't know, John the Baptist was also one of these Pharisees and Sadducees and scribes. There's a difference between them. The Sadducees are the ones who were in control of the temple worship and what was going on in the temple, and the sin offerings, the guilt offerings, all those offerings. They're the ones who were really in charge of the temple worship and the offerings being brought by the Jews. The Pharisees, on the other hand, were somewhat different. They were the one who were pretty much what we call Torah only. They didn't follow the tradition. They were more like Torah only type of Jews. And so even though they differ, but they saw a common enemy, which was Jesus Christ, because the way Jesus interpreted the law was different from how they interpreted the law, basically. We keep going. This is verse number 13, Matthew chapter 3. Mohammed Zahid. Why you guys keep popping up here, man? To what I'm saying, you just probably... let's see who this is. Salam alaikum. Hey, Mohammed, can you hear me? Mohammed, can you hear me? All right. We keep going, all right? So we're going to start with verse number 13. We're right here, Matthew chapter 3, verse number 13. John baptized Jesus. Let's see right here. Then Jesus came from Galilee to John at the Jordan to be baptized by him. And John tried to prevent him, saying, I need to be baptized of you, and you coming to me? I need to be baptized of you, and you are coming to me. But Jesus answered and said to him, Permit it be so now, for thus it is fitting for us to fulfill all righteousness. Then he allowed him. And when he had been baptized, Jesus came up immediately from the water. And behold, the heavens were opened to him. And he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and alighting upon him. And suddenly a voice came from the heavens saying, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Now, we already seen the connection between Jesus and, his Father, the Spirit. Let me not use the Father right now. It's more about Jesus and the Spirit right now. And the perspective John the Baptist, is seeing, basically. This would be, they've met before. The very first time they met, John the Baptist and Jesus Christ, they were in the womb. And Jesus Christ, after Mary conceived Jesus Christ, the angel came up to her and told her, you will conceive a son, and he shall be blessed and be blessing to all nations. He shall be called God. But your own cousin also is pregnant. That was John the Baptist's mom, Zachariah's wife, and said she's already far gone, up almost 6 months. So when both ladies met, because Mary was excited now, let me go out there and, talk to my cousin, let me go visit her. And she stayed there, almost during the whole, before the birth, basically. And right there, when both ladies met, the children were interacting in the womb. And Zachariah's wife saying, oh, the baby leaped in my womb and called Mary, blessed art thou among all women. And, the moment you spoke, the baby in my womb, leaped for joy. So that is the very first time they encountered in the womb. So now they are meeting face to face now. And Jesus is just coming to him to get baptized. And John the Baptist is telling him, you coming to me? I have need to be baptized of you. Just to give you an idea of how he was being reverenced, even by John the Baptist himself. But we're going to keep reading. We carry on. Matthew chapter 4. So this is after the baptism now. After the baptism, the Spirit came down in the shape of a dove, saying, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased, and everything. Chapter 4 started out with Satan tempting Jesus, and Jesus going to the wilderness to, get that, to be away from everything right quick, prep himself, and before he starts off his ministry, basically. Verse number 1, chapter 4. Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, afterward he was hungry. Now when the tempter came to him, he said, If you are the Son of God, command that these stones become bread. Now, I need you to pay attention to the very first verse, Matthew chapter 4. It will seem like this was all planned. Devil tempting Jesus. This was already all planned. Because he started off saying Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted. So this is something that was already planned, And as patient as the devil can be, he had to wait 40 days and 40 nights, you know, for the flesh to be weakened enough for him to gain success. But he really never, you know, got that far with Jesus. Jesus is God in the flesh, you know. So we're just going to read on anyway and give you, you know, break it down as we go along, basically. And when the tempter, this is verse number 3. When the tempter came to him, he said, if you are the Son of God, command that these stones become bread. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. Which is another thing that is interesting, because when the Israelites were led out of Egypt into the wilderness, they were being guided by the pillar of cloud by day and by fire, the pillar of fire by night, you know, lighting up their path and protecting them. They ate manna that fell from heaven, and they also was given spiritual food, the Torah. So you don't live by food alone. You know, you also have to eat spiritual meat, which is the Torah. Somebody trying to join? Let's see who this is. I don't know why you guys try to come up and you leave right away. I mean, you can come up, man, if you want to discuss, you know. This live is very chill. No cursing, no, you know, no yelling, none of that stuff. So if you want to come speak your mind, you know, go right ahead. Let's see right here. Let's see. Anyway, how you doing, Garav, Shama, Alejandro, Ship Monster? How you guys doing? We keep going. Chapter 5. Then the devil took him up. Let's see what this is. Okay. It's like, right. This over here. Let's see a little better. Okay, we keep going for now. Chapter 5. Then the devil took him up into the holy city, set him on the pinnacle of the temple and said to him, if you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge over you, and in their hand shall he bear you up, lest you dash your foot against the stone. Now, chapter 5, the way it came out saying, and the devil took him. Y'all got to realize just how powerful the devil is too. This is the God-man, weakened in his weakened state, no food or water to nourish the flesh body he has. He's tired now. You know, this is towards the end of his of him being in the wilderness, you know, and now he's saying the devil took him. I don't know how to interpret that. I have to see what the rabbis had said about that, or maybe what the church fathers said about verse number 5. But the devil is powerful enough to do that to somebody, to a human being, saying he took him. So even either physically or spiritually, I can't say for a fact, but we're just gonna keep reading on, all right? And the devil took him up to the holy city and set him on the pinnacle of the temple and said to him, if you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge over you, And in their hand they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. Verse number 7, Jesus said to him, it is written again, you shall not tempt the Lord your God. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Verse number 8, we keep going. Again, the devil took him up on an exceedingly high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to him, all these things I will give you if you will fall down and worship me. And Jesus said to him, away with you, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only you shall serve. Verse 11, then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and ministered to him. So, the whole time, now mind you, the way we started out the chapter, it's saying is this spirit. The spirit led Jesus to the wilderness, to be tempted by the devil as a trial. He was there for 40 days, no food or water, And verse number 11 is telling you, after the devil left him, after him getting the devil busted, basically, angels came down and ministered to him and started having conversations with him. Basically he passed. He passed the test. Being hungry and weak in his weakened state. And the devil is a very powerful being, y'all. For those of you who don't realize it, y'all should know what I'm talking about. How many times have y'all tried to resist a devil coming in many forms? For example, women, coming out to you, showing off a lot of skin. Now you can't help but watch or try to go touch or try to go talk. The devil comes in many forms. This is just to tell you how powerful the devil is. Tried one way through his stomach because he was hungry. Changed this stone to bread and eat it. And Jesus got him busted that way. Man shall not live by bread alone. Try to tempt him with the kingdom. I'm going to give you everything if you but worship me. And Jesus Christ telling him, you shall not tempt your Lord your God. And even took him to a high mountain and showed him the whole kingdom of the world. Worship me. I will give you all this. Forgetting Jesus is the one who owned, or he already owned all this. What a powerful Jesus we serve. Very smart. Smart Jesus right there. He didn't even let his stomach get to him. And this is all him. And verse number 11 is telling you afterwards, after the devil left him, the angels came and ministered to him. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. How you doing, Blocked for Speed? The Modi Pisces, how you doing? We carry on, verse number 12. Now when Jesus heard that John has been put in prison, he departed to Galilee, and leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is by the sea, in the regions of Zebulun and Naphtali, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali by the way of the sea beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. The people who sat in darkness have seen a great light, and upon those who sat in the region and shadows of death, light has dawned. So he is the light in these dark times. He is the light, Jesus Christ. We carry on. Verse number 17. From that time, Jesus began to preach and to say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Verse number 18. 4 fishermen called the disciples. And Jesus, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw 2 brothers, Simon called Peter and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. Then he said to them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. They immediately left their nets and followed him. Going on from there, he saw two other brothers, James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, in the boat with Zebedee, their father, mending their nets. He called them, and immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him. Now, you got to understand what kind of impact, what kind of aura must Jesus have around him, all about him, that even James and his brother John, the sons of Zebedee, they left their father, left the boat, left their fishing nets, and followed him. By one speak of the tongue, follow me, I will make you fishers of men. Simon called Peter and his brother Andrew. They left their fishing nets and followed him. What kind of aura you think must be emanating from somebody like this? It's like you are at work right now. You know you are at work getting paid. That is how you're going to feed. And this man just come up to you saying, leave what you're doing. I'm going to prosper you. Follow me. You're not just going to get up, leave, abandon everything you're doing and just follow that person. There's got to be something convincing or something that convicted you right then and there to follow this said person. He's got to have some type of aura around him or the way he portrayed himself to get them to follow him. We carry on. Verse number 23. And now he's starting his ministry now. These are the very first 4 disciples that are following him about, the very first 4 he called. And Jesus went about all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing all kinds of sicknesses and all kinds of diseases among the people. Then his fame went throughout all Syria, and they brought to him all sick people who were afflicted with various diseases and torments, and those who were demon-possessed, epileptics, paralytics, and he healed them. Great multitudes followed him from Galilee and from Decapolis, Jerusalem, Judea, and beyond Jordan. So everywhere he went, he was actually attracting crowds. Can you imagine the kind of power this is? Everywhere he went, he's attracting crowds. People are bringing their sick, those who are tormented, possessed by demons, the epileptics, the paralytics, and he's doing these miracles, healing all of them, and they're sticking to him like glue. They don't want to go nowhere else, ignoring the scribes and the Pharisees or whatnot. People from everywhere, they want to know what it is about this Jesus, what it is about him that is making people stick to him. We serve a wonderful God. We keep going. That's the end of chapter number 4. Let's keep going. Matthew chapter 5. And seeing the multitudes, he went up on the mountain, and when he was seated, his disciples came to him. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. This right here, this is a blessed assurance right here. All this right here from verse number 3 to verse number 10, that's nothing but blessed assurance. If you poor in spirit, you are blessed. Blessed are you, for the kingdom of heaven is yours. If you mourn, you will be comforted, so you will be blessed. If you're someone who is meek, you are blessed, for you shall inherit the earth. We have somebody else trying to join. Ma Boom Khan. I don't know who you are. Sorry, I'm going to have to decline. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. This is our blessed assurance right here. You are assured these things if you follow Jesus Christ. No other person came out and said something like this, not even the prophets. Verse number 10. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Verse number 11. Blessed are you when they revile and persecute you, and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Verse number 13. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father in heaven. Don't be ashamed to come out and profess your love for the Messiah. TikTok is not a good platform, man. TikTok is not a good platform. The amount of blasphemy these people spew on TikTok alone. These oneness heretics and Muslims and atheists and Satanists and anarchists and all you guys that have been on TikTok, you've been scrolling, you've seen a lot of people out there with their own different ideas and videos they're trying and content they're trying to put out there. Which is another reason why those of us who are passionate about the faith, we need to speak. Speak! That silence in itself is evil. When you hear these people bad-mouthing the Messiah or speaking bad about the Bible, the Messiah, we don't deserve that. Christians, we don't deserve how they portray us. We have to speak. How you doing, blessed King? We have to speak. Speak our mind. Call these people dead in their tracks. Call them out. We have to speak. We have to do our part. We can't leave it for the pastors and the bishops and the priests alone. We have to speak, do our part. We carry on. Verse number 17. Do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill, to make full, to complete the law. That's what Jesus is saying. For assuredly I said to you, till heaven and earth pass away, not one jot or tittle will by no means pass from the law till all is fulfilled. Whoever therefore breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches men so shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does not teaches them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say to you, that unless your righteousness exceeds the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. Again, he's reiterating the fact, putting the Pharisees and this scribe in comparison. And he will tell you in the very next chapter how these scribes ultimately became the law, sitting on Moses' seat, and became higher than Moses. They became higher than Aaron, and they became higher than the Torah, and ultimately became the law, which is another reason why they clashed all the time. Jesus' way of interpreting the law was different from the way the scribes and Pharisees interpreted the law. We carry on. Verse number 21. Murder begins in the heart. Murder begins in the heart. You have heard that it was said to you of old, you shall not murder. But whoever murders will be in danger of judgment. But I say to you that whoever is angry with your brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whoever says to his brother, Reka, shall be in danger of the council. But whoever says, you fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Let's pause right here for a second. See if you guys understood what I just read. This is Matthew chapter 5, verse number 21. Jesus Christ is categorizing murder with you having malice with your brother. He's categorizing murder with you being angry with your brother. He's categorizing murder with you calling your fellow brother Reka or a fool or cursing people out. So this is murder of the heart. If you're keeping malice with someone and you're keeping malice with this person, you're not speaking to them, it's been weeks have gone by because of whatever altercations you guys have had, Jesus Christ is comparing that to murder. And he goes on later on to talk about how your gifts are not accepted unless you go make peace with your brother. So murder in real life is a sin, but you being angry with your fellow brother, that is also a spiritual murder. You know, you cutting relationship between you and your fellow person, your fellow human being, your fellow brother. And Jesus Christ categorizes you being angry or being judgmental or you calling somebody a fool. He's putting that in the category of murder because that is a spiritual murder. Your brother won't be won't have that heart to come meet you for anything they may need or desire at that point in time. Why? Because you guys had an altercation or something and you're angry with him. You've called him a fool. You know, Reka is another way of an insult, basically. Outcast, blackhead, a fool, whatever. You are in danger of judgment. Why? Because that is spiritual murder. So he's categorizing, and I'm sure we are all guilty of this. I've been pissed off with my friends before. I've been pissed off with my brother before. I've got into a fight with somebody before, and we see every day to day, but we stay 3-4 months without talking, just walking past each other, you know, keeping that malice going. Jesus Christ is comparing that to murder. Can you imagine? I'm sure a lot of you here today have somebody who you are not really in good tunes with, who probably offended you some type of way. But Jesus Christ is paragonating murder as also with the spiritual murder. When you murder somebody in real life, that's a sin. But you can also commit a spiritual murder when you are angry with your brother, your fellow brother, when you curse them out and you insult, you call them a fool. That is a spiritual murder. That's what Jesus Christ is saying right here. And if you read verse number 23, he's saying, therefore, bring your gifts to the altar and there remember that your brother has something against you. Leave your gift there before the altar and go your way. First, be reconciled to your brother. So you have physical mother and you have spiritual mother. Let's see what this is. So you have physical mother and you have spiritual mother. Jesus Christ put them on the same category. You have to first go make peace with your brother. Go make peace with him so that your prayers, your gifts, everything will be accepted. This is another thing wrong with people today. They wonder why their prayers are not being answered. You committed murder, not a physical murder, but a spiritual murder. Have you ever been angry with somebody where you stayed weeks, months at a time, not even trying to reconcile, even though you know that this person is trying to reconcile back to you or trying to forget the past and move forward with their life, but you hold that grudge, you hold that in your heart? That's murder. That's what Jesus Christ is saying right here. Those of you who are actually in bad terms with somebody, with your fellow human being, go make peace with that person. It doesn't get a hair out of you. If anything, it shows you are a bigger man. If anything, it shows you are a bigger man. Go out there and make peace with him. Go make peace with your fellow brother. That way your prayers can be answered. You won't have any hindrance to your own prayers. You won't have any hindrances to your own forgiveness. You won't have any hindrances to whatever you ask of him. Go make peace with your brother. And Jesus Christ put those on the same category. Wow. Wow. We carry on. Verse number 24. Leave your gifts there before the altar and go your way. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gifts. Agree with your adversary quickly while you are on the way with him, lest your adversary deliver you to the judge. The judge hand you over to the officer, and you will be thrown in prison. Assuredly I say to you, you will by no means get out of there till you have paid the last penny. So Jesus Christ is equating murder, physical murder, with the spiritual murder. And I'm sure everybody's guilty of this. Everybody's been mad at somebody before. You've been angry with somebody before. Somebody may have rubbed you up the wrong way, or maybe it may have been you that have wronged your fellow human being. When you pray and you realize your prayer is not being answered fast enough, these are some of the hindrances that may be the cause. Jesus Christ is saying physical murder is not just the only murder out there. You have spiritual murder, murder of the heart. If you haven't keeping malice with your fellow human being, your fellow brother, you're not happy at heart. You're probably killing him internally, killing him indirectly. Maybe he's trying to make peace with you, and you're not making that chance available for you to reconcile, maybe because you are still very upset about what happened between you. Jesus Christ called that spiritual murder. That is murder. Go make peace with your brother. Go make peace with your brother. That way your prayers will be answered. That way what you ask of him will be answered. Before you come bring your gifts, bearing gifts to the altar, go make peace with your brother. That way he won't go out there to the officials and turn you in if you're the one at fault, or you will rot in jail. That's what Jesus Christ is saying right here. Wow. Wow. We carry on. This is verse number 27. You have heard that it was said to you of those of old, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you. Excuse me, guys. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast in hell. Again, adultery. Jesus Christ is equating adultery with spiritual adultery. Just like the murder one earlier. You have murder, physical murder, and you have the spiritual murder. You're not coming to terms with your fellow brother and keeping malice and not being forgiven. You have to be able to forgive. Or you're committing murder of the heart, when someone is trying to reconcile back to you. Adultery of the heart. You've heard that it was said of old, you shall not commit adultery. So physical adultery. Adultery with a woman who's already committed to another husband. Adultery and fornication are two different things, mind you. This is adultery right here. But Jesus Christ is saying, even if you look at a woman lustfully, you've already committed that adultery in your heart. And we see that today. A married man just minding his business. Next thing you know, nudes popping up on his phone, because that is the internet now. He didn't even scroll nothing, just open up his phone and nude pics are just popping up. Which is why women too are to blame. You think it's the new norm right now to show skin and wear these clothes that are so tight you can't breathe in? You guys, you ladies are the ones causing some of these brothers to stumble. You ladies are the ones causing some of these guys to stumble. When you look at a woman and now you can't look away because, you know, maybe she's eye-catching and you like what you see. Jesus Christ is saying right here, you have already committed sin in your heart. Why? Because you're already imagining things. What it could have been if she was yours. That's somebody else's wife. So again, putting adultery with adultery, spiritual adultery. How you doing, daughter of God? Putting those two on the same platform, this is what Jesus is saying to you. We carry on. Verse number 31. This is where Jesus Christ calls marriage binding and sacred. Furthermore, it has been said, whoever divorces his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you that whoever divorces his wife for any reason except sexual immorality causes her to commit adultery. And whoever marries a woman who is divorced commits adultery. So this also reiterates the fact in the book of Mark too, when the disciples was asking Jesus Christ, so looks like it's better to actually be single and not get married. And Jesus Christ was telling them, yeah, we are humans, we all burn, you know, which is why it is better to marry. You know, marriage is supposed to be a condition, 50-50. You know, you have to be able to take the good with the bad. And also for the wife, she has to be able to you know, tolerate the good with the bad. Jesus Christ here is saying, if you divorce your wife and she go marry somebody else, you pushed her into that adultery. That second marriage is invalid. You pushed her into that adultery. And if you divorce your wife because you want to get with another woman, you are in sin. You are in adultery. For it's better for you to divorce and stay single till you die or not marry at all. This is Jesus' words. So when it comes down to marriage, only few, how you doing, Maria Hernandez? Only few have that understanding. Only few. We carry on. Verse number 33. Jesus forbidding oaths. Again, you've heard that it was said of those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform your oaths to the Lord. But I say to you, do not swear at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, nor by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king, nor shall you swear by your head, because you cannot make one hair white or black. But let your yes be yes, and your no be no. For whatever is more than this is from the evil one. Now, let's take a little pause right here for a second. You guys don't seem to understand verse number 33 to verse number 37, what Jesus Christ meant by this. He's saying, let your yes be yes, let your no be no. How many times have you tried to get a conversation out of somebody and they are beating around the bush? Hey, I saw you at the store yesterday. Oh no, I wasn't at the store. But I saw you yesterday, you was talking to Tony. Oh yeah, I was behind the store and I came out from the store and I decided to go in to use the restroom and came back out. He said, no, but I saw you at the store yesterday. He said, no, I was just there trying to talk to my friend. But you see how they cannot be consistent with their argument. They are telling you yes and no. You can't be consistent enough. Yeah, Jesus Christ is telling you, if you the type, you can't be straightforward with yourself, that says something. Verse number 37 is saying, that is from the evil one. Somebody who's not, and quite frankly, if you're the type who can make up your mind like that, that means even you are dishonest to yourself. That's what it's saying right here. How you doing, Tamara? That's what it's saying right here. It means you're actually dishonest to yourself. Let your yes be yes. Let your no be no. You don't act a certain kind of way because a couple of people came up to you and now you are acting a certain kind of way because, you know, some other group is coming up to you. Or maybe when you, in this circle of friends, you act differently from when you are around this other circle of friends. Let your yes be yes. Let your no be no. You can't be out there trying to profess the faith and trying to see if you can sway people, you know, on this side. Then when you get to this other side, you actually acting differently. This is another, this right here was actually indirectly related to the Pharisees and the Sadducees in Jesus' time, because what they preached is different from how they act and how they lived. That is why they were always clashing. Which is why also in Mathew, I think this is 24 or 23, the 7 woes when Jesus Christ came out talking about woe unto the scribes who do this and they act differently. Woe unto who do this, you know. So let your words, you know, because everything you have pretty much is your word. If your word is not, if you can't stand by what you say, then what can you stand on? You can't be a hypocrite where you say something today and you change your mind in the evening. You can't be a hypocrite to where, you know, you can't stand by what you said 5 minutes earlier. That is not being a human being. It means you yourself, you're not holding yourself to a higher esteem. You don't respect yourself enough to know when your yes is yes and when your no is no. You have to respect yourself enough to portray that. Don't come out acting one way and you are acting differently because somebody else comes along. That is what a hypocrite does. That's being a hypocrite. Let your yes be yes, let your no be no, and do not swear. Never perform any oath. It doesn't make you feel more of a human, more of a man. It doesn't take no hurt from you. If you portray yourself to say yes and you stand by your yes all the time, everybody around you will know the kind of person you are. That means when you say no, they know the kind of person you are. You're going to stand by that. But now you are swearing, oh no, I promise you, I'm telling the truth. Jesus Christ here is saying, do not swear by the heavens, for it is God's throne. Just to prove your point. Do not swear by the earth, for it is his footstool, nor by the city Jerusalem, for it is the city of great king. Neither by your hair, because you cannot make one of your hair white or black. Let your yes be yes, let your no be no. And if people around you see you turning that line, someone who actually don't take rubbish from nobody. Your yes is yes, your no is no. People respect that. People can relate to that. People can respect that. They know the kind of person you are. They know you don't beat around the bush. When you say yes, that is a yes. When you say no, that is a no. They're not going to come back to you and say, hey man, can you please explain? You know, last time you said yes last time, but then you ended up doing this. And, you know, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. And you won't have to have that problem of somebody coming to make you, clarify what you mean. Everybody around you have always known you to be a man of your word. Be that. Be a man of your word. Let your yes be yes. Let your no be no. We carry on. Verse number 38. You have heard it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you not to resist an evil person. But whoever slaps you on the right cheek, turn the other unto him also. If you also want to sue, if anyone wants to sue you and take away your tunic, let him have your cloak also. And whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Give him who asks you, and from him who wants to borrow from you, do not turn away. This is another reason I want to say, don't get me wrong, I know it's really hard for people who are cheerful givers like myself. If you're a cheerful giver like myself, you may have had, mishaps. You may have had disappointments where you're expecting to get your money back and the person actually ended up postponing it or got into a fight with you because they don't want to pay. You know what I'm saying? Basically, you got to understand right here what Jesus Christ is saying. We're going to start an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, like it was mentioned in the Torah. Then he went ahead and reiterated the fact that whoever is turning this line or trying to get a rise out of you, that's what verse number 39 is saying. You have to try as much as possible to resist that evil person. That is an evil person. The Bible teaches us when you owe somebody, you pay your dues. But you have to give what is God's too. Give Caesar what is Caesar's. Give to God what is God. 39 says, try to resist that evil person. You borrow them money. They don't want to pay. Now they want to fight you. They're trying to get a rise out of you. Trying to make you do something horrible. Resist that person. If they slap you on the right cheek, obviously it says turn the other cheek. But I think what Jesus Christ is trying to say is you don't have to entertain it. You can walk away. You insult me, I don't have to go into a insult fest with you and see who insults the most or see who's going to come out on top. It doesn't make me less of a man walking away and trying again later on when you have calmed down. It doesn't make you less of a man if you feel like, you're being punked or something and you walking away. Obviously, that's what Jesus Christ meant by turning the other cheek. You have to be, have that temperament, tolerable enough to know when to walk away. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. That's what it's saying right here. If anyone wants to sue you and take away your tunic, let him have your cloak also. Give him your jacket, give him everything you have. If that will make them feel better. I guarantee you, when the Holy Spirit convicts that person, they will be the one who come back to you to apologize. It's happened to me too many times. I've had issues in my life where I'm at work and somebody tried to fight me over lunch that he thought I ate. I gave him my lunch. Let him know, hey man, I didn't eat your lunch, but if you're so hungry and you're in this kind of mood, go ahead, you can have mine. And come to find out later on towards the end of the day, they finally realized who took his lunch. The kind of shame, it was double the shame upon him. He didn't even know how to approach me to come apologize. Why? I turned the other cheek. I walked away. It's not worth it. It doesn't make me less of a man. I know I didn't do it. And I know whatever is hidden under the sun will always come to light. Even if the truth doesn't come out right then and there, the truth will definitely come out. Walk away. Those of you who want to try to prove something to your significant other and try to me, I'm the man of the house, that doesn't make you a man. Being aggressive, putting your hands on a woman or something, walk away. You walk away. Go cool off. You too, you don't want to get dragged into that kind of mud fight. Walk away. And let the person just keep going about it. You walk away. And that's what Jesus Christ is saying right here. We carry on. Verse number 43. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be sons of your Father in heaven. For he makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what reward have you? Don't even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet your brethren only, what do you do more than others? Do not even the tax collectors do so? Therefore you shall be perfect, just as your Father in heaven is perfect. Amen. Right here, verse number 23 to verse number 28 is telling you to love your enemy. You having malice or you angry with somebody, it's telling you right here, bless those who curse you. If they curse you, tell them God bless you. Rashid. Who is Rashid? I don't know who Rashid is. Let's see if you... How you doing, Rashid? Can you see me?
Good.
Salam alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Malik, welcome ho gaya yaar tera.
Where are you from, man? Iran, Iraq, India, Afghanistan?
Pakistan.
Pakistano. Pakistano. How you doing, my friend? Do you have anything you want to say about the topic, or what's your idea of the Messiah, man? You speak English good?
No, Urdu.
Urdu. Oh, yeah, that's right. You guys speak Urdu. I'm sorry, man. I have to let you go, okay? I don't understand Urdu either. I speak English, okay? I wish we could understand each other and talk to each other and have a little conversation, but I have to let you go, okay? Is that okay? I'll follow you. Don't worry, I'll follow you, okay?
Okay.
All right. Walaikum salam. Yeah, I don't speak Urdu either, so I don't know how to. Yeah, I don't speak Urdu either. I wouldn't know how to communicate with him, you know. But he seemed to be on the bed, chilling over there or whatever, whatnot. But it's all good. I may follow you. Okay. All right. Okay, we keep going. Verse number 43 to verse number 48 That is telling you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who persecute you. That, you may differentiate yourself from everybody else. What makes a Christian a Christian? If even regular atheists, they can greet each other, that doesn't make them Christian. You as a Christian, you also greet each other. Jesus Christ is saying, even atheists and tax collectors, they greet each other. So what is going to differentiate you as a Christian from these other heretic groups? You have to pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. You have to do good to those who hate you. You have to bless those who curse you. And don't pay evil with evil. I know the world is a mean and nasty place. People have been rubbed off the wrong way. So that is to be expected, especially in this day and age, 2024. This is something we've seen. Life is tough. As tough as life is, don't nobody want to be a pushover. Nobody want to be punked. Whatever energy you bring, you get that same energy back. Jesus Christ is saying that that's not the way. When somebody mistreats you and mistreats you and mistreats you and maltreats you and keep maltreating you and keep maltreating you, and every time you see them, you always blessing them. God bless you. I'll pray for you. May God bless you. God be with you. And every time they cussing you, they insulting you, and all you ever did was say nice thing to them, bless them. One day that person is gonna come to the Father. Why can't I get a rise out of this person right here? That's being a Christian. Jesus is saying you have to differentiate yourself as a Christian from the fold, from the pack. Everything you do, atheists do that. Everything you do, heretics do that. You don't want to greet somebody because they don't believe in Christianity. Well, atheists do that, they greet each other. You only want to greet Christians. Jesus Christ said that is not the way. Pray for them. Bless them. Especially those who do you wrong. Bless them. Because trust me, once they get convicted, that stigma is going to stick with them. I've seen people who change by not even speaking a word. I've seen people who live a certain lifestyle, but just because there's somebody they miss who stayed consistent with his beliefs and stand on that, somehow it was able to make an impact on them. There's a guy who ended up going to jail for something he didn't commit. He was 17 at the time. This was like 5-6 years ago. I'm not going to give any names, but just to give you a little breakdown of his story in a nutshell, basically. So he's in prison, supposed to do 2 years before they let him out for a crime he didn't commit. So now you know how it is in the prison life, especially here in the States. You're going to get picked on, you're going to get beat on, unless you find a group that, you want to tag along with, that way you will feel some kind of protection. He refused all that. He decided every day he prayed. They always want to come there and mess with him, and every time he just let them, they beat him up, they gang up on him, they beat him up, and he goes to the ER, gets stitched up, come back out, they still bounce on him, beat him up. Every time his family come, bring him gifts or food, something like that, they take the food from him, and every time he just kept saying, God bless you. I'll pray for you. God bless you. And this went on and on for a good 8 to 9 months. This whole 2 years that he was going to stay in prison, 8 to 9 months. He ended up letting go. They ended up letting him go after they found the real culprit. This was about a year and a half. Almost, he still had like 6 more months. But that was when they found the culprit of the one who actually did the deed and let him go. But this whole time, he did not retaliate not one time. When they finally decided to let him go from the prison, the gang leader of the ones that were actually abusing him called him up, sat him down, and said, "Hey man, I understand. I want to tell you I'm very sorry. We are sorry. You know, they may not have converted to Christianity, but they had that conviction that what they were doing was wrong. Yeah, and you in jailhouse, you don't want to feel like you're getting punked, you know, some type of way. But he did not retaliate. Every time they want to come up there and beat him up, he just let them do them. There's nothing he can do. He's in jail, you know. And somehow his attitude kind of gave them some kind of... They were there before they let him go. That last month he was there, this same gang that were bouncing on him decided to protect him. They had to, they were bringing him gifts, food. He was living large at the time, at this time, before they eventually let him out of prison. He didn't even speak nothing bad, negative against them. Yes, he went through a lot, which would have still happened anyway, even if he decided to be a blackhead and go against them clash for clash. That probably would have even been worse for him. But they let him go, and they decided to protect him the rest of his time there before they eventually let him go. Which is trying to let you guys know the tongue is a powerful thing. This tongue is a powerful statement. Be careful what you say. Every time you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. You're telling the whole world who you are. You have to be watchful and careful what you say with your mouth. May God have mercy on all of us. So that was Matthew chapter 5. So it's like my thing is already starting to act up, so we're gonna stop sharing. So what we got here. Excuse me guys for a second. Alright. Okay, so let's see right here. Live stream. Every time it's just one thing after another. May God have mercy on all of us. Alright. Anyway, I'm gonna go back again live tomorrow and we're gonna keep going. This is the whole book of Matthew. I'm gonna go through the book of Matthew with you guys, and from there we start going on, working our way up down the Bible. We ended up in chapter number 4, chapter number 5 today. So we're gonna start from where we stopped tomorrow. And hopefully I get to see you beautiful people come to my live. So thank you so much for being here. May the peace of Christ be with you guys. And I love you guys.